BigBite Breakfast Show. I'm Sharan Gidda.
And I'm Sukhi Bart. Welcome to the show.
And you guys know how it goes down. We're going to be talking about some of the most taboo subjects in British Asian communities and across the nation in general.
And of course, Sharon's out and about collecting more recipes for you. But as I always say, she collects these recipes, cooks the food, but never brings it into the studio. She has said one day she might just do that.
I might just surprise you one day. Apart from that, we're going to be talking about what's going on in the world of showbiz. So whether it's movies, celeb gossip, new releases, we'll keep you guys posted on that as well.
And the subject we're on about today, which is again another subject that's been around for years and years, is a subject about black magic. It's known about jaddu, tuna, spirits, witches, ghosts. Do they really exist? Do they? But we have with us a very special guest who actually deals with this on a daily basis. Well, welcome again. Mandy, how are you? Tell us, black magic, I mean...
You wouldn't believe that it actually happens in the UK.
We're in England.
Today. I know, precisely. And I think when I meet parents of disabled children, or if I meet friends who don't have children, they go off to people, and I kind of think... Guys, what are you doing? Why are you parting with money? What is possessing you to do this?
Yeah. And let's not only stick to black magic. Let's go more kind of around blind faith.
We are.
Superstitions.
Yeah.
And because I think they're all interlinked.
Of course they are.
Some people will say black magic is something. Some people will say it's evil spirit. Some people will say Naseebo Lal.
And there's a real difference, actually. So, for instance, like say in Sikhism and Hinduism, we believe in black magic, we believe in tuna, we kind of almost, like you say, blind faith in somebody who's in a position of trust or who's spiritual. We think they know best.
Yeah. We shouldn't say that as, you know, from a religious point of view that we do believe in, but certain people do. The religion obviously doesn't
resist. No, it's not a religious practice. This is about people believing somebody who they think is in a position.
Yeah.
And people start abusing their position if they call themselves a sant or a bibi or a baba, whatever they would want to call themselves. Yeah. But however, in the Muslim community, however, they believe in jinn. They believe in people living amongst them as evil spirits. They believe that some people are witches. They believe that some people are being possessed. So, for instance, if somebody has mental health issues, they might be going through psychosis, which is a real medical condition. Doesn't mean that that is an evil spirit.
Yeah. So, obviously, from a religious and a cultural background, it's referred to in different contexts, should you say.
Yeah.
Now, you've recently been doing quite a lot of work to raise awareness about blind faith and superstitions. There have been children and people who have died.
Yes, I have, and we've had some just in Birmingham here, because we've had cases like Victoria Columbier, who was a very famous Afro-Caribbean girl that lived with her great aunt, who thought she was a witch, and she was tortured and sadly killed. And I was working with Lord Laming at the time on that court case, looking at what is culture, what is religion, looking at the ideology of such practices in the name of religion and culture. And also we've had a case in the Pakistani community where a pregnant woman was killed because we thought she was carrying a child.
I mean, Mandy, what drives people to these so-called superstitious or these people who offer them a way out?
It's just really sad, because what I try and say to our communities, you know what, duck and suck are the same of the coin, because you have to go through something bad to appreciate what is a good thing. But some people don't. Sometimes, you know, we can go through work today, Sukhi, and you could just sadly lose your job. It could have an impact on you financially, but that doesn't mean somebody's done black magic to you. That is just, you know, circumstances of life sometimes. You know, a factory could shut down, but sadly some people are looking for answers. They are desperate, they don't know where to go. So then, for whatever reason motivates them, they think, oh, let's go and ask somebody else who might find us the answers.
And there are a lot of people that are emotionally and financially exploited in the name of spirituality by people who promise them things like, you know, if you pay me X amount of money, we will be able to change your fortune, we will be able to help you conceive if you're having problems in that area, if you're having problems in your relationships. But I have a very important person on the phone. I have Jazz Bassett. She's a spiritualist. And she is going to distinguish between bad practice and good practice.
No, that'll be good.
Hi, Jazz. Are you there?
I'm there. I'm here.
Hi, Jazz. Thanks so much for your time. Now, you are a spiritual healer yourself. You promote forms of healing like meditation.
Yes, I do.
And you've also heard about, you know, people being exploited, obviously being Indian and you know, Punjabi yourself, especially in the British Asian communities.
Yes, of course I do. I hear so many stories about, let's say, the Muslim community, obviously the Afro-Caribbean community, which are actually under exploitation at the moment.
Okay, and tell us now, obviously, what is the difference between good practice and bad practice? Tell us.
Well, good practice is when somebody is actually under a code of conduct. or they're working with in relationship with medical practitioners, having referrals, let's say from the healthcare section.
Okay, and what kind of cases have you heard? Because we were speaking the other day and you told me that you received a call from somebody who was very upset, who had been financially exploited with, you know, consolation, or with somebody basically telling them that they'd be able to resolve their problems. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on.
Basically, what happens when somebody's in a vulnerable state or in a condition emotionally or mentally, what happens is these people will exploit them because they're very vulnerable. So they'll do anything to get a quick fix or help. And what happens is they actually do fall into the wrong hands. So when that happens, they are willing to give any or everything just to get an answer or to get a fix to the problem.
And the other thing is, if a medical practitioner, a GP or a psychiatrist or a consultant has told you that you need to take Prozac or some sort of medication, and you can tell, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but actually it's illegal for you to go out as a holistic therapist or some sort of priest or whatever you want to call yourself to override a medical practitioner.
Or to prescribe medication.
That's actually against the law. You're not allowed to give medical advice.
No.
So you're never allowed to advise a particular course of medical treatment or the taking of specific drugs, let's say.
Yeah.
If somebody's under the supervision of a GP, that is obviously law. They have to take that medication. It has to be the client's decision. A therapist cannot and should not advise them not to take any sort of medication or to take any alternative medication.
Or say take Bashard or something, because this is the problem that we're coming up against. Sometimes, you know, we've had parents who have got a child with mental health or disabilities or autism. We'll say to them, oh, you know, we'll take it and we'll do that to you. We'll give you that. And, you know, and sadly, these are real medical conditions that are not going to go away. These are real things that are happening to people.
Just coming over to you, obviously, if somebody is asking for money or somebody is asking for sauna or whatever they're asking for, I mean, I don't mean to make sort of mockery of this, but is there receipts available? Are they declaring this income?
How is it controlled, or how is it priced?
How do they quantify this? How can you pay for something, you know, and they will be made better?
The thing is, Sukhi, what I've realised in any community, be it ourselves or any other community out there, or any culture, there is stigma attached to what's right or wrong. There are procedures by law. If somebody phones you and wants to book an appointment, you have to state the length of the time and how much you're charging, so that the client is then able to make a decision if that's what they want or not. You have to keep them fully informed. Obviously, when these people are actually going somewhere and actually saying, this is what we want, they're not actually being told what they're being charged or where it's going. They don't know anything about this person, so they're extremely vulnerable.
And they're very desperate. Sometimes people might be trying to conceive a child for many years and, you know, it might not have happened. And people, they exploit people, and you know, they are, I mean, one day I was walking through Coventry City Centre, and these guys that were wearing a turban came up to me and they're saying, oh, you're very lucky, oh, can we read your fortune? And I was thinking, no, it's all right, I know what I am, and I carried on walking off.
And I think it's just a matter of trying to tap into your weaknesses and just kind of explore those weaknesses and then find opportunity in that. But Jazz, I'd just like to thank you so much. I know you couldn't be in the studio today, for your time and for your input as well. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jazz.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I mean, Mandy, on that subject, my niece, obviously, you know, we're all family people as well. That happened to her as well. There's some just a random person, and she was saying, well, I wanted to talk to him because, you know, obviously I didn't want to say, I said, no, thank you, Uncle G, no, thank you. But he was almost like grabbing her hand and saying, insisting. That's so, you know.
And then, because like I walked off because I was assertive, but actually then I came back because I went into a shop and I came out, and then he met like an old auntie, and I've seen her parting. So I then went over and I said, excuse me, what do you think you're doing? And then I said to the auntie, she's like, you know, and all this rubbish. And I was thinking, oh my God, you know what? He's preying on you. Because you know what? Verbal communication is only 7%. 93% is non-verbal. So people are very good at reading people, and they exploit you. So they see things about you. They kind of ask you indirect, open questions where you will disclose a lot.
And is there a law, or is there anything with advertising? The reason I'm asking is like, you can open up an Asian paper
and they're on the back page.
Well, not on the back. Some of them got middle page spreads in there. You know, come to us and you're having trouble conceiving and something. Is there something?
I mean, the thing is, I am working quite closely with with some of the police forces now to tackle some of these practices. Sadly, we've not been able to have a conviction because people won't report these people. Because people will say to me, oh, I don't want to report that person because they might put a spell on me, because they have this fear. They're worried about the consequences. They're worried about actually thinking people will find out their business in the community because we're so close-knit.
Again, that's why maybe it's such a taboo subject.
Of course it is.
Again, it goes back to our cultural acceptance and our acceptance in the community. Also, you know, some people regard these people as sacred or spiritualist or religious. So I think that's why people are a little bit more reluctant to come forward about.
I know if you want to go out and report it, you're worried about the consequences, because actually there might be somebody there who feels that this person is absolutely the best thing since ever, and then thinks, oh, actually this Babaji or Auntie, whatever you want to call her, or the bead, they've managed to transform my life. So they have got, like you say, blind faith in that person because they've actually managed to help you, but actually can't
make you believe that
they're the ones that did it, but actually it's you that are responsible for your own life.
And word of mouth matters, sorry.
Oh, of course it does.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, Mandy. We're going to have to wrap up now. Please just give our viewers a little bit of advice. If you feel that you're being exploited back...
and you know what, because these people, and if you have been financially exploited, you know what, it's good to ring 101, which is your local police office number, police station number, and you can ask for help and say, well, actually, do you know what, there's people in our town, in the city centre of Birmingham, that are kind of targeting people who are vulnerable, because we need to take these people off our streets. They are making a lot of money off desperate people, and that has to end now.
And just on that note, I just want to finish on one more point, that, you know, if there's anybody out there that does want to help somebody who is going through a difficult or struggling time, they shouldn't be asking you for money.
No, precisely. And you know what, there are organisations, if you're feeling a bit lonely or whatever, there's like organisations like Samaritans, and that's a good one, and they can signpost you. If you're an older person, there's Age UK, and there's so many different organisations. If you open up the yellow pages, there are always helplines in those at the beginning of the book.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being in the studio today again, Mandy.
Thank you.
And that wraps up our discussion segment, but we will be back after this break.